Chapter 2. The Happiness Myth. It's not a destination. The mountain you never reach. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was a junior when I met her. Pre-med, dean's list every semester, president of 2 clubs, the kind of student advisors point to as a success story. She came to my office hours, not to talk about biochemistry, but because she was having panic attacks in the bathroom between classes. And here's what she said that I'll never forget. "I don't understand. I did everything right. I got into this school, I made the grades, I got the research position everyone said I needed, so why do I feel worse than I did in high school?" Sarah's story is your story. Maybe not the exact details, but the pattern, you know it intimately. You're deep into the college experience, which is essentially one long, high-stakes climb toward a goal you believe will grant you entry to a satisfied life. You're scaling what I call the if-only mountain. You know the terrain well. I'll be happy if only I get into grad school. I'll be happy if only I land that summer internship. I'll be happy if only I can pay off this student loan. I'll be happy if only I find the perfect partner. I'll be happy if only I get my GPA above 3.5. We cling to these milestones because society and our own conditioned ambition tells us they are the summit of permanent happiness. Reach the peak, plant your flag, and finally exhale. Finally feel okay. The deception you've already felt. But you've already felt the deception, haven't you? You land the internship you killed yourself applying for, and the joy lasts about 2 weeks before it's replaced by the stress of networking and the anxiety about whether you're performing well enough to get a return offer. You get the A on the paper you poured your soul into, and instead of celebrating, you're immediately worrying about the final exam. You finally get asked out by that person you've been crushing on, and within days, you're anxious about whether they actually like you or if you're good enough for them. You reach the peak, take one quick breath, and instantly see a new, taller mountain waiting in the distance. This is not a personal failure. This is not because you're broken or ungrateful or incapable of happiness. This is because the entire game is rigged. The truth is, the current definition of happiness, the one you've been sold your entire life, is a setup for failure. It's a destination, and destinations, by definition, are places you leave. The first step towards sustainable satisfaction is recognizing that happiness is not a place you arrive at, it is a direction you choose. Let me show you why. Meet your brain's reset button. Remember Sarah? Here's what happened next in her story. 2 months after our conversation, she got exactly what she'd been working toward: acceptance into a prestigious summer research program that basically guaranteed her med school admission. The thing she'd been sacrificing sleep, friendships, and her mental health to achieve. She was ecstatic for about 3 days. By week 2 of the program, she was already stressed about the next milestone. By week 4, the achievement that once felt monumental was just normal, background noise, and she was back to feeling anxious and inadequate. "What's wrong with me?" she asked. "Why can't I just be happy?" Nothing was wrong with her. She just discovered the Hedonic Treadmill. How the treadmill works. The hedonic treadmill is your brain's remarkable yet deeply frustrating ability to quickly adapt to any positive or negative life change and return your emotions to a relatively stable baseline. Think about the last time something amazing happened to you. Maybe you got into your dream school. Maybe you got a new phone or laptop. Maybe you started dating someone you really liked. How did you feel at that moment? Probably incredible, right? On top of the world, like everything was finally falling into place. Now think about how you feel about that thing today. The dream school is just school, with homework and stress and 8 a.m. lectures you drag yourself to. The new phone is just your phone. You don't even notice it anymore unless it glitches. The relationship is complicated, real, sometimes frustrating. Definitely not the fairy tale it felt like at first. This is the treadmill in action. Your brain, wired over millions of years for survival and detecting threats, not savoring rewards, quickly normalizes any new reality. The amazing becomes the background, the extraordinary becomes ordinary, and your focus instantly shifts to the next perceived lack or desire. You run hard, but you stay in the same place. Why your brain does this to you. Before you get angry at your brain for ruining everything good in your life, understand this. The hedonic treadmill isn't a bug, it's a feature. From an evolutionary perspective, this adaptation mechanism kept your ancestors alive. If our ancestors spent too much time celebrating a successful hunt, they'd get eaten by something while they were distracted. Their brains needed to quickly return to baseline, to scanning for threats, looking for the next meal, staying vigilant. Your brain doesn't care about your happiness, it cares about your survival. And in the survival game, satisfaction is dangerous. Complacency gets you killed. So your brain is literally engineered to prevent you from staying satisfied for too long. Thanks, evolution. But here's the thing, you're not running from predators anymore. You're sitting at a library at 2 a.m. stress-eating trail mix and spiraling about a midterm. The survival mechanisms that once protected your ancestors are now making you miserable. The myth we must retire. Let me be blunt about what you've been told. The myth. Happiness is something you find and keep once you achieve enough. Get the grades, get the degree, get the job, get the relationship, get the house, get the promotion, climb, climb, climb. And at the top, permanent happiness waiting for you like a prize. This is a lie. Not a well-intentioned mistake, a lie. And it's costing you your mental health, your relationships, and your college experience. Here's the reality nobody wants to tell you, but that you desperately need to hear. The reality. Happiness is something you practice and cultivate daily. It's not a destination. It's not a reward. It's not something that happens to you after you've suffered enough or achieved enough. It's a skill, a practice, a direction you choose over and over again, regardless of your circumstances. The story of two students I taught the same semester. Both with juniors. Both had nearly identical GPAs, majors, and backgrounds, but their experiences couldn't have been more different. Student 1, Marcus. Marcus was obsessed with getting into a top-tier law school. Every assignment was a stepping stone. Every grade was life or death. He'd stay up until 3 a.m. perfecting papers that were already A quality. He'd panic if he got a 92 instead of a 95. He got into his dream law school, and 3 weeks after the acceptance letter arrived, he was already anxious about class rank and summer associate positions. 4 years later, Marcus is a lawyer at a prestigious firm. He makes great money, and he's the most miserable person I know, because the treadmill never stopped. He's still running, still chasing, still believing the next achievement will finally be enough. Jen. Jen wanted to go to law school too, but she approached it differently. She worked hard, sure, but she also had boundaries. She played in an intramural soccer league. She had dinner with friends twice a week, non-negotiable. She took mental health days when she needed them. She didn't get into her top choice law school. She got into her second choice. And you know what? She's happy. Not because her circumstances are perfect, but because she built practices, connection, balance, self-compassion that work regardless of which law school she attends. 4 years later, Jen is a lawyer too. Different firm, similar salary, but she actually enjoys her life because she learned the skill of happiness before she needed it. Same starting point, wildly different outcomes. The difference wasn't circumstances, it was approach. Where true leverage actually lies. So if chasing major life events, the car, the job, the grade, the relationship, doesn't guarantee lasting happiness, where does satisfaction actually come from? Research provides a powerful breakdown that shows exactly where you should focus your energy. And when I show you these numbers, I want you to really sit with them because they're going to change how you spend your time. 50% is your genetic set point. This is your inherited, natural temperament. Some people are born with sunnier dispositions. Others are born with anxious or melancholic tendencies. This is your baseline, the emotional home your brain returns to. You can't change this starting line. You can't hack your genetics. If you're born with an anxious temperament, you're probably going to be a more anxious person than someone born with a calm one. This is not a value judgment, it's just biology, and spending energy trying to change this percentage is like trying to change your height, pointless and exhausting. 10% is life circumstances. Read that number again, 10%. This includes your income, your relationship status, where you live, whether you have a car, and yes, your GPA and your major. All the things you've been told are make or break for your happiness, they account for about 10% of your long-term satisfaction. This is not to say circumstances don't matter at all. Living in extreme poverty is obviously different from living comfortably. Having basic safety and security matters. But past that threshold, the returns diminish rapidly. The difference between a 3.3 and a 3.7 GPA in terms of your actual day-to-day happiness? Negligible. The difference between a good job and a great job? Smaller than you think. The difference between being single and being in a relationship? Almost nothing long-term. 40% is intentional activity. This is your power zone. It's the deliberate mental, emotional, and behavioral work you choose to do every day. How you think about challenges, how you respond to setbacks, where you direct your attention, what habits you build, how you treat yourself when you fail, how you connect with others, how you spend your time. 40%, that's massive. That's a huge chunk of your well-being that is entirely, completely within your control. The misallocation that's killing you. Now here's where this gets painful. Look at how you're actually spending your energy. The primary source of student anxiety and burnout is the misallocation of energy. Dedicating 90% of your time and stress to the 10% of circumstances you can barely influence, while neglecting the 40% you can fully control. You're killing yourself trying to boost your GPA from a 3.5 to a 3.7, frantically optimizing that 10%, while completely ignoring the 40% that would actually transform your daily experience. You're sacrificing sleep, friendships, mental health, and peace of mind in pursuit of marginal gains in circumstances that will have minimal impact on your long-term satisfaction. Meanwhile, the practices that would actually make you feel better, the relationships, the self-compassion, the mindfulness, the meaningful activities, are getting zero attention because you don't have time. This is backwards, and it's destroying you. The shift this book offers? This book is about shifting that energy. We are not here to change your major or magically fix your circumstances. We can't make your student loans disappear or guarantee you the perfect job. We're here to change what you do with the life you already possess. We're here to teach you to focus your energy on the 40%, the zone where you have actual power, actual leverage, actual control. Because here's what happens when you master the 40%. Your circumstances might not change dramatically. You might still have student loans. You might still be in a competitive major. You might still face challenges. But your experience of those circumstances transforms completely. The stress becomes manageable. The setbacks become bearable. The pressure doesn't crush you. And most importantly, you stop needing the next achievement to feel okay. You can be satisfied with where you are while still working toward where you want to be. That's the promise of the 40% advantage. Action step: the treadmill audit. Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. To step off the treadmill, you first have to acknowledge you're on it, and that requires brutal honesty. I want you to grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. We're going to do what I call the treadmill audit. Identify one or two things you are currently chasing right now in your life, believing they are the keys to your satisfaction. For each one, answer 3 questions. 1. The goal I am chasing, the external 10%. Be specific. Being successful is too vague. Getting a 3.8 GPA this semester is specific. 2. The happiness I expect to receive. What feeling are you actually chasing? Relief? Validation? Security? Pride? Being enough? Write it down. 3. How long will that feeling realistically last? Be honest, not how long you hope it will last, how long it actually will, based on your past experience. Let me show you what this looks like. Example. Goal: getting a 4.0 GPA this semester. Expected happiness: relief, validation, proof that I'm good enough, future security. Realistic duration: until the first midterm next semester, maybe less if I start comparing myself to people with better internships. See how that works? You're not abandoning the goal, you're just seeing it clearly, understanding the mechanism. Now do this for your own goals. Goal 1. The goal I am chasing. The happiness I expect. Realistic duration. Goal 2. The goal I am chasing. The happiness I expect. Realistic duration. What this audit reveals. If you did this honestly, you probably noticed something uncomfortable. The feelings you're chasing are temporary, fleeting, fragile. You're sacrificing your present well-being for a future feeling that will evaporate almost as soon as you achieve it. This isn't to shame you, it's to wake you up. You can still pursue these goals. You should pursue goals that matter to you. But you need to stop making your happiness conditional on achieving them. Because that's the treadmill, that's the trap, that's the game you can never win. Sarah's ending. Remember Sarah from the beginning of this chapter? She did eventually get into medical school, a good one. And you know what she told me when she emailed me the news? I'm happy about it, but I'm not waiting for med school to make me happy anymore. I'm practicing happiness now. And it turns out that's a lot more sustainable than chasing it. Sarah learned what I'm trying to teach you. Happiness is not a destination you reach after enough achievement. It's a direction you choose, right now, regardless of your circumstances. Acknowledge the goal. Pursue it if it matters to you, but understand the mechanism. You are now ready to stop chasing fleeting feelings and start building a stable foundation. The next step? Defining what you're really building. A life aligned with your values, not someone else's definition of success. That's where we're going next. But first, do the audit. Really do it. Because you can't change what you won't acknowledge, and the treadmill won't stop until you choose to step off.